Here's my vlog for the 1st of June 2024, and it's 4:32 p.m. on Saturday. I think I did that video earlier today. I didn't upload my video from yesterday because I was too lazy. I couldn't find it, but I don't think I looked at enough cameras. I think the other one, it didn't have charge, but I just plugged it up, so I'll upload this video and that video at the same time. So yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to just keep track of everything with the uploading at the beginning of this project. It's kind of big. I'm looking at a long-term deal. So what I'm doing now is trying to finish Pliny, Livy, and the U.S. Law Code. Working on all three of those suckers at the same time. Pliny on this computer has 2,200 and some odd chapters that I'm creating a higher level menu. I had that one already where every chapter had a title, and if I have that much, convert it into that just because to do it all thorough. And yeah, so I'm only like 74 onto the first one, second chapter 2, because I'm spending most of my time on that. I'm gonna try to, yeah, right now I'm converting the black into that, you know, because the different levels, layers, depending on how many of those. That's number 4, because there's 4. And then I have to do it for the border. So this is something that I decided on after I had built that, and it would have been way less time consuming if I had figured it out before. But so now I have to just convert it, and I think the first half of Title 5 I already put the text on, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just finish Title 5 before I move on to any of the other books on that. Or maybe even work on this one. I have this one here whenever this computer kind of freezes. Dang, that's a loud bee. There's like a bee in here. Dang, dude. I'm gonna open up my window. Let the bee out. There you go, bee. There it is. Oh, there it goes. Found its way right out. There you go. So, I live on the 2nd floor, so it's cool. Like, mosquitoes don't make it this high. I don't have to worry about mosquitoes. Almost never. Sometimes they make it up, but sometimes the bees and stuff get in here. Once a bat got in here that got tested for rabies. And then mice. There was a mouse living in here until my ferrets killed it. I saw him I actually filmed it. Maybe I'll put it at the end of this video. Yeah, he was there in the kitchen. Oh, and I saw like a family of raccoons walking down that tree last summer or whatever. One of them was like looking at me as I got to the door. Anyway, and there was a fox living underneath that stairs a couple years ago, and then I saw another fox like a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was its kid or something, I don't know. But yeah, so after I finish Title 5, I'm gonna go and touch up everything else before I add text to any of the other ones and work on Pliny. So yeah, it's a lot of work. So I listened to Suetonius, Caligula, and Nero yesterday, and then today I'm doing Plutarch Lives of Eminent Grammarians and Commanders. But it's super duper interesting because Plutarch is an ancient Roman writer, and he said, I want to read it, dude. I forgot to do a mark on Audible, but I'm gonna look for it. He didn't call it Atlantis. He called it island of the Atlantic. But Plutarch, okay, see, people say that Plato was the only person who talked about Atlantis. That's not true. A lot of the ancient writers talk about Atlantis. Plato was the only one who talked about it with detail. But the other ones alluded to it, including Plutarch. I can't name any of the others, but there were a couple of others. But Plutarch said that Solon was planning on writing a book about Atlantis, like dedicated to Atlantis, like a book called Atlantis, based on the books he brought back, or the books he read, or the stories he heard when he was in Sais, Egypt. But he died. But Plutarch said Solon died before he got to write the book about Atlantis. So then he said that. So then his late grandson Plato talked about Atlantis, but Plato was going to write a book about Atlantis, but he died before he got around to it. So we got this close twice from one of our classic books, like a whole book, like Plato, Politics, dialogues. It would have been, one of them would have been Atlantis, and it almost was one called Atlantis by two writers in Greece. And then it would have been history, because the modern skeptical historians say that they weren't taking it seriously. It was just like a illusion. And but he even said he was taking it seriously. So Plato did when he told the story. So yeah, so that's interesting. So you could almost, because he didn't write the book, but he was intending on it, and Plutarch said that, you could almost count it as a book that did exist but was lost, because that book is the same to us as any of these other books that did exist and were popular but are lost. There's a gazillion of those, and there are a lot of famous authors who are famous that we have heard of, and none of their stuff exists because they only exist through people talking about them. But that's the same thing as the Solon's book, because he told the story to Plato. So Arianism and all that. He used to write lots of books. None of his stuff that survives. Jesus never wrote. Socrates never wrote. So Buddha never wrote. So none of the, or Muslim, Muhammad, none of the big religious leaders ever wrote. So anyway, so yeah, there's even a list. I think Diogenes' book about lives of eminent philosophers. He wrote a list of all the books that all of the philosophers in his list, it's 50 philosophers, wrote. And it's a list of 100 books long. And none of the books exist anymore. So it's you could make a whole library. I think I will, a phantom library. Here's the books that we know of that used to exist but we lost them, just to make people take more seriously not losing stuff. But one of those books I'll include Solon's Book of Atlantis and Plato's Book of Atlantis, with a note saying, well, they weren't actually written, but they were going to write them, and so let's just assume that they existed, because they said that they had enough material for the book. So anyways, yeah, so what Plato said was just off the top of his head. There was more stuff that he could have talked about. Anyways, yeah, so what else did I listen here in Plutarch's book that was interesting? Lots of interesting stuff, man. Man, I'm starting to get addicted to it. It's, it gets a little bit, I guess, tedious to listen to, a monotonic book, even if a human's reading it, as opposed to people talking shit on YouTube or whatever, or music. But especially if you're high. But the work that I'm doing is so monotonous that it's going to be perfect for forever too. I mean, this is a huge project that's worth it to me. Yeah, it's going to be good for listening to a book. So as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to get back to the book. So yeah, I think maybe I'm hoping maybe by tomorrow, maybe by the end of the weekend, I can be done with Title 5, which is like, I think maybe the second biggest title. They say that the tax code's the biggest. They say 20,000 pages. I don't know. I'm curious to know how much, but Title 5, government organization, sounds like a big one, and it is big, and so if I can get done with that tomorrow, I'll be happy. Yeah, but I'd like to take a day off, like maybe a day a week or 2 days a week, take a day off to work on Livy, because I can't really work on Livy on my cell phone because I haven't drug in the stuff in their proper chapters yet from the top, because I wrote just a summary of all of it from what he read on Audible. I want to drag it into all the proper sections before I create them, because then I don't want to have to double do the work. So I want to do that soon. That's another really big project, but I cracked into it enough to know that it's defeatable. So, but anyways, these 3 books, it's going to be realistically, I was saying a month. I think for all 3 of them, if I just focus on this, maybe a month, but all 3 of them, yeah, you're talking 2 months. My goal would be the beginning of August. Is when I think my goal will be done with these 3 books. But my sense of accomplishment is going to be really big when I get these up, especially the U.S. Law Code, because it's going to be the only place where you can actually read it like a book, and you could. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to, that you wouldn't want to read it like a book, because it's supposed to be interesting because it's the U.S. Law Code. So. And if they're like, but it's written boring, well then don't write the law code so boringly, politicians. Maybe you could send it through an AI program. Make the law code sound more interesting. Anyways, I asked, this is what I said in my vlog yesterday, but I asked ChatGTP, like, organize them in order of size, couldn't do it. Or tell me what the biggest one. Tax code is how big? Oh, just hundreds of pages. So couldn't really answer the question. So, like the questions I'm figuring out on my website, ChatGPT could never do it. Anyways, yesterday I was thinking about, like, when I start to get really out of shape and I need to move, I was thinking about creating my bearded dragon cage, because like one of my ferrets got out and was on top of my deck in the flowers yesterday, and if he falls, he'd die or get lost. And I grabbed him in time because he climbed up the chicken wire that's rolled up, and I put the chicken wire where he couldn't use it to climb up. Somehow it fell over, I don't know. And luckily I caught him in time, but I want to use that chicken wire before it gets him into trouble. And I was thinking about creating my bearded dragon cage first. So what I'm going to do, and I just came up with this idea yesterday. So before, what I was going to do is I was going to create a cage on the top of my refrigerator for a bearded dragon, because the refrigerator can't take that much weight. You can't put an aquarium up there, but you could put bearded dragon cage up there, and there's already a lot of light there, so for the plants. And so, a lot of people would think it's not sanitary, but if it's my house, and and I can do what I want in my house, and if I get a roommate, it would already be there. So. Just use chicken wire to create a cage there, but the thing is, I have all of this chicken wire simulating a tree, and so the refrigerator's on the left side of that over there where you can't see it. Actually, I'll film it. I'm so lazy. Oh. Okay, so those are all my plants. So I'm gonna cover that with plants, and in front of it put the chicken wire. So it's just chicken wire with the jungle behind it, so you feel like you're in a jungle tree with just jungle behind. And then it's just chicken wire to the ceiling. But then he can go there, and then he can climb up here. He can climb up there because it's all encased in chicken wire, all the way up to there, here, run alongside there. He can run up there, and then even run up there, run up here. And then I'm going to make a bridge going across there where he can run down there, all the way to there. And then when he gets here, he can run all the way around there. And then maybe even down here. Because the ferrets aren't climbable enough, but maybe the bearded dragon is. And, yeah, and just enclose it all in chicken wire. So it's all part of his cage. So I can leave the house And my little bearded dragon can literally just run like he's outside, just. And I'll put like food at the end over there, so I'll train him to see if there's snacks at the end of it to give him incentive to run all the way across. And so it'll be like he's free, and he can look down. I think their eyesight's good, so he can look down and see all the ferrets and everything around him and the birds, and never have to interact, never have to get harassed by the ferrets, but at the same time interact literally next door to him, because he can be next door to him as he goes in front of him on that part of the cage. That's the ferret cage. And then the cage over there will be next to their cage there. And then look down on them. And so they can literally like touch each other, you know. And then the ferrets can go over there to literally touch Whiskers with the rodent, like the possum that I get, or maybe I'd want to get like one of those spiny dealios, or you know, you get a guinea pigs are cute. And so I have a lot of chicken wire to get started with that, and that would be fun, because those like bearded dragons are just too trippy, dude. They're like too personable. I have to have one. They seem really smart, you know, and so I want to see what the dealio is with that. So anyways, that's enough talking, and I get it a little bit of a tour of the plants. You know, I have lights on all the time. I think I'm going to put a light up there, right there, to feed these plants with light. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought maybe I should put one back there. But, like, there's that light, but, you know, like, I don't know, is that plant going to have enough light? Is it too much in shade? So, but look at that, isn't that cool? So it's like we get to see which plants do well. And I'm telling you, the plants that are, you know, get the most light do the best. Like, there's a light that I've had. My mom, like, it's so long ago, man. It was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It was at least 2 years ago. It was when I first bought this stuff, and I first got it, yeah, like 2 years ago. Summer of 22, like 2 years ago. You know, I get plants that are out there because I didn't have plants last summer, but 2 summers ago. And then I brought them in. She's like, for house plants inside. She's like, oh, never do house plants. They'll all die. You can't do entertain house plants. But because there's not enough light. And then I go, but you know, I've seen houses plants before, and she's trying to talk me out of it. And in the winter, the summer, or the end of the winter, I brought the plants in, and I planted them in here, and they did great. And 2 of them are still alive. One of them died recently, but I think it was because maybe they didn't get enough light. But these guys didn't get enough light for a while because that didn't work, and they didn't do well. But it's these 2 are 3 years old. This one is still alive, as you can see. But look at this one. Look how bushy that is. And you know why? Because it's literally right under that light. It gets bathed with light. And look at that sucker. It's just shining. And this one too. Just doing great. So, and these guys are like at least 2 years old. So like you can do, and this guy is like a year old. And look, because it's under this light, like look how it grows towards the light. It's just great. So that's why I have it just a gazillion lights. Like, just put a ridiculous amount of lights up in your house, in your apartment, and then have them on like all the time. You could put, and then justify spending all that extra money and all that electricity, justify it by just planting a gazillion plants everywhere. Like, these are plants that I got recently, but I have like, this little person has like, this like flower. I need to have this go on front though so they can get the, and then this one, this is like his hair. The flower is like his hair. So you could have like every surface area. Like, look how well that guy's doing. It's way up high. And then I even have them up here. Gonna have them all along there. And even way up there, lining there. Yeah, my mom offered me to get more plants today. I think I'm gonna take her up on it. Or maybe I'll go to Safeway and get a bunch of plants, like right now. I just got like jazzed about it. I'm gonna, yeah, because I just got an energy drink. I should go back there to see if they have plants, because I saw on the internet, I think they had something like they sell 3 plants for $10 or something, and or 4 for 10. Like, I'd do that, and maybe the one across the street, because the one across the street has trees, so has plants. So, because I'm getting, yeah, just check it. Like, I have so many plants, places where I don't have plants in, you know. So, like, that would be awesome to just go fill the whole thing up. You know, even though this winter I could use the ones from out there to bring in here. So that's why I wasn't going to, actually. You know, I was going to hold off and just do it at the end of the summer. Because I kind of don't care about anything but these 3 books. So, oh yeah, and so it's exciting to listen to books. The 4 things, listening to the books, and these 3 different books, are the 2 things, the brain candy work I'm doing, with the exception of Livy. And listening to the books is going to go really well together. I don't have Suetonius's Nero and Caligula for some reason, but I found them on the internet, so I definitely want to put those up on the internet. It'll be quick to put up. It's not that complicated, and it was written by a contemporary. He was only 1 generation behind, and those guys were crazy. The things that they did were just insane. I want to memorize the things that they did. It's like, it'll explain how crazy, you know, like Trump is so crazy, and the other people who support him. So, anyways, I'm going to get back to my book now, and listen to the book and work on the U.S. Law Code. It's up there now. You can check out follow my progress. I'm doing Title 5 now, and then I'll touch up the 1 through 5, and then I think 54, the last one, do that one, and yeah, maybe I'll do the easy, smaller ones first, and then move my way up to the big ones after that. So, anyways, talk to you tomorrow.